Hi, my name is Reagan Bales and I attend Osborne High School.
My name is Hayley Keller and I attend Palco High School. And together we are going to share our FRS Youth Tour experience with you.
Early in the morning, we headed to the KC airport and said goodbye to Rachel Keller. We boarded our plane around 8:30 and headed to Ronald Reagan National Airport. Close to 11:30, we touched down and headed to baggage claim. I was alongside many other kids from Kansas and Missouri, and I began to introduce myself to them and talk with them.
We took a bus to our hotel, then played Uno and talked for hours with other people until everyone arrived. Next, I met my roommate from Minnesota named Madeline. We talked for hours about our lives, both equally intrigued. She could not believe how small my school was.
After a quick breakfast the next morning, we boarded our charter buses and met our bus driver, Mr. Green. Through the crowded streets of DC, we made our way to Arlington National Cemetery. Inside this breathtaking place was over 400,000 tombstones. At the tomb, we watched the changing of the guard, a sacred routine in which one service member alternates places with another service member who has been keeping watch over the tomb for the last hour. Additionally, we viewed the eternal flame over the burial site of John F. Kennedy.
Then we boarded the bus and headed to the National Mall, where I spent the majority of my time at the National Gallery of Art. There was a big blue rooster on the roof. Being a proud rooster myself, I had to get a picture with it. I also saw Ginevra da Vinci, Leonardo da Vinci's only painting in the US.
My group started out in the National Air and Space Museum. Next, we walked through the Smithsonian Castle to the National Museum of African Art, Museum of Natural History, and the Museum of American History. I most enjoyed seeing the original ruby slippers from The Wizard of Oz and seeing the large model animals.
Next up was our night tour of DC. I got a picture at the White House, and it was way smaller than I thought it would be. We also saw the World War II, Vietnam, Korean, and Lincoln memorials. At the Korean memorial, I was amazed at how the faces were so realistic and how you could see every emotion in them.
The next day, we made the trip to the Hart Senate Office Building and listened to an educational session titled A Visit to the Hill. This was a very interesting session in that we were able to learn about the lives of some individuals that worked at Capitol Hill and some of the background information that isn't known by the outsider.
At our visit to the Capitol, we saw beautiful paintings, some of which I had saw in my history books. But the real thing, and sculptures of many Kansas people too. We also saw the spot where Abraham Lincoln sat as a representative from Illinois. The Library of Congress was one of the most beautiful buildings of the entire trip.
Tuesday, our final day of true touring, began with a trip to the U.S. Federal Communications Commission. We listened to many speakers, each detailing a different aspect of the telecommunications industry and some politics behind it. We even had the chance to listen to and take a picture with Ajit Pai, the chairman, originally from Kansas. Next, we hopped on the bus and traveled to the Newseum, a fascinating and informational place telling us all about the media and its involvement in American and world history.
At the Newseum, we saw a piece of the Berlin Wall, the 9/11 memorabilia, and so much more. Then we traveled to Mount Vernon, the home of George Washington. It was really cool and had a beautiful view of the water. And we watched a 4D movie in a small theater that snowed and shook our seats.
The FRS Youth Tour is an experience that I will surely never forget. I cannot thank enough the people who made it possible for me to go. I experienced America in a way that I never have before in the nation's capital.
This experience of visiting our nation's capital went beyond all measures of my expectations. And I cannot give enough gratitude for not only providing this opportunity to youth, but for selecting me to go on Nex-Tech's behalf. I hope that you are able to continue providing this opportunity to youth, as I can now advocate for the impact on youth today and for the future of telecommunication companies tomorrow.